In today's video, we're going to be going over the 3 biggest mistakes you can make during your flight attendant interview. I was able to find this great post on Reddit from a former flight attendant who was working as a flight attendant for 16 years and also instructor. What I've decided to do is summarize everything and also provide some additional tips on top of that to really give you an edge over your competition. Let's get started. So the first biggest mistake that candidates make during their flight attendant interview is that they focus too much on customer service. Now, many candidates make the mistake of believing that airline recruiters only want to hear about customer service. Now, customer service is important. Airlines want flight attendants who can create a positive experience for passengers and represent the brand professionally. The problem is that many candidates focus so heavily on customer service that they forget the primary responsibility of the role. Remember, customer service is important, but what is the primary role of a flight attendant? So when you look at it that way, in aviation, priorities are different. The order is safety, situational awareness, communication, and service. Service matters, but it comes after safety and operational responsibilities. What recruiters want to hear. Imagine a passenger is upset because a meal choice is unavailable. Many candidates immediately say, I would apologize, offer another meal option, and do everything possible to make the passenger happy. While this sounds customer focused, it doesn't demonstrate an understanding of the flight attendant role. Remember, that answer example above is customer service focused, and it doesn't demonstrate an understanding of the flight attendant role. Recruiters want to know that you can assess the situation, remain aware of what's happening around you, follow procedures, communicate effectively, and then provide excellent service. So what's a better approach to a customer being upset over a meal choice being unavailable? A strong answer may sound like this. I would remain calm, assess the situation, communicate clearly with the passenger about the available options, and work within company procedures to find a solution while continuing to maintain awareness of the cabin and any safety-related responsibilities. Now you'll notice in this answer, a lot of the focus is on staying calm, assessing the situation, communication, and safety. Safety is always going to be number one, as you are a flight attendant responsible for several passengers flying up in the air, which is very important. Notice the difference. The flight attendant is still providing great customer service, but they're also demonstrating operational judgment, situational awareness, professionalism, and an understanding that safety always comes first. Now, why does this matter so much? Airlines can teach service about beverages and product, no, but they can't teach the ability to think clearly under pressure, make good decisions, and maintain safety while managing multiple priorities at the same time. So airlines want someone who has these qualities from the start. Usually being able to deal with situations under pressure and making good decisions and having the know-how about safety are qualities that someone already possesses. So that's what airlines want to hear and want to know during the airline interview, if these are qualities that you already possess. The next biggest mistake, number 2, is answers that are too rehearsed. This is a huge mistake because candidates often sound like robots in interviews and their personality suffers. These candidates don't get to shine and show their actual jolly personality. Remember this, being a flight attendant is about dealing with passengers, making them happy, building rapport, so a robot-like conversation will not accomplish this mission. The perfect answer. Here's the thing with perfect answers. When they are too polished, they can reduce credibility. It's not always about the perfect answer, but about clear thinking and your ability to be logical. So for those of you who don't know what logical means, it's to describe something that is based on clear, sound reasoning and good judgment. It means a conclusion or action is sensible, rational, and follows the natural rules of cause and effect without being clouded by emotion. So decisions not based on your emotion, but based on the situation ahead of you and what would be the correct course of action depending on the information you have, your clear judgment based on reason. Sometimes when it comes to working for an airline, there are certain procedures laid out on what to do in different situations. So using your reasoning and your judgment based on those procedures would be logical. But using your emotion, and let's just say you're upset about something and taking a course of action because you're upset, will make things worse, which is not always the right thing to do. Recommendation: study the questions and create answers for each one. Whatever answer you have for that question or those questions, read it out loud so it comes off naturally, just the way you talk. Remember, the key is to not sound robotic. This exercise will help you stay natural. Important. You can find the complete list of the questions for all major airlines in my exclusive flight attendant hiring guide. Take each answer and tweak it to add your own skills and qualifications. Then read each one out loud to make it sound more natural. Now you can find the link to my exclusive flight attendant hiring guide where I cover all the major airlines, the interview questions with high converting sample answers, as well as common FAQ for each airline and candidate experiences. You can find all of that in my hiring guide. The link is below this video in the description section. The biggest mistake, number 3, you avoid escalation. Not always good. Candidates in their interview try and come off across as heroes, like they can solve every issue by themselves. However, this strategy will backfire on you and will get you rejected by the airline. Why? It's because knowing when to ask for help and escalate a situation is a skill in itself. It's a sign of professionalism. In the end, we know that teamwork is a major factor in becoming a flight attendant and is extremely important. Remember, escalation is good, but it's not always good. It's important to have a balance because you don't want to come off as someone who can't work independently or as someone who always needs help from other fellow flight attendants or your team. You want to come off as someone who can work independently and escalate situations when they have to be. So you want to have a good balance of both. The former flight attendant recommended using the following strategy when interviewing and when answering questions when it comes to escalation and working as a team. Use this when answering a question. Situation awareness. Show that you first assess what is happening, gather the facts, and understand the full situation before taking action. Risk identification. Explain any safety, security, operational, or customer service risks you recognized and why they matter. Priority. Demonstrate how you determine what needs immediate attention and what can wait based on airline procedures. Action. Describe the specific steps you would take to manage the situation while following company policies. Communication. Show how you keep passengers, crew members, and relevant stakeholders informed in a calm and professional manner. And escalation. Explain when and why you would involve the purser, captain, or another appropriate authority to ensure the issue is handled correctly. Remember, you are dealing with the safety of your team and passengers. So sometimes it's not about having all the right answers and being a hero. It's about having logic, clarity, and good judgment. Final thoughts, candidate experiences. As always, I like to research communities and hear what others actually said about what was discussed in this video. Candidate experience number 1. We had a group exercise about passengers that are stranded on an island and needed to start a new civilization. Who would stay and who would die on the lifeboat? There was no right or wrong answers according to the recruiter, but we all know it is. So essentially what this candidate is saying is that even though there's no right or wrong answers, there are better answers, okay? So our group didn't even get time to finish our decision, but we gave a good reason on why we picked the passengers we did. Even with our time management fail, we all passed, while another group that finished the task within the time did not pass to one-on-one because they picked poorly. Their decision was based on emotion and not on survival rate and contribution. Now, this was taken from Reddit. Candidate experience number 2. In most cases, group exercises are actually not about making the right decision. Recruiters want to observe things like communication, teamwork, listening skills, leadership style, and how people behave under time pressure. In many assessments, I've seen candidates fail not because of their final decision, but because they dominated either the conversation, ignored other participants, didn't help the group move forward who became too focused on winning the argument. Sometimes a group that doesn't even finish the task can still pass if the interaction was good and collaborative. So while critical thinking is definitely valuable, in an airline recruitment, the way you work with the group is usually more important than the final choice itself. This again was from a candidate experience on Reddit. Now, as you can see, teamwork, being able to balance, having clarity and using logic is technically a lot more important than always giving the perfect answer. Now, that is something to always keep in mind. If you have a flight attendant interview coming up and want the exact interview questions and sample answers asked by 15 of the major airlines like United, Delta, American, SkyWest, and more, check out my exclusive flight attendant hiring guide. Inside, you'll find the exact interview questions, sample answers, what recruiters score you on, and what it takes to land a conditional job offer from these airlines. Click the link in the description below to preview the guide and grab your copy today.